In the late 1960s, amid revolution, rock, and the moon landing, a darker figure rose from Northern California's shadows. He wasn't a voice for peace, but a self-proclaimed executioner who called himself Zodiac. With guns, knives, and cryptic codes, he carved his name in blood and fear. Decades later, his identity remains unknown, his shadow lingering as one of America's darkest mysteries. The nightmare began on Lake Herman Road. On the 20th of December, 1968, in Vallejo, California, 17-year-old David Faraday and 16-year-old Betty Lou Jensen left a holiday concert at Hogan High School. Like so many teenagers before them, they drove to Lake Herman Road, a secluded stretch known as Lover's Lane. The night was calm, the air sharp with winter's approach. At around 11:15 p.m., another car pulled up behind them. A man stepped out, a flashlight in hand. To David and Betty Lou, he may have appeared to be a police officer until the first gunshot shattered the silence. David was struck in the temple and died instantly. Betty Lou bolted, her white boots pounding the gravel, but 5 bullets pierced her back. She collapsed in the dirt, just 30 feet from the car. The killer left nothing behind, no fingerprints, no casings, no words, only silence. For 7 months the case went cold. Then, on the 4th of July, 1969, another couple, Darlene Farron and Michael Mageau, parked at Blue Rock Springs Park, a popular Vallejo hangout. Just past midnight, headlights flared behind them. A man approached, moved to the passenger side, and unleashed 9 shots into the car. Mageau, hit 4 times, pretended to be dead. Darlene, struck twice in the chest, died instantly. This time, the killer made a mistake. Mageau survived. When police arrived, he gave a description: a white male, late 20s, short brown hair, glasses. But without a name, the trail faded. Then, on the 1st of August, 1969, the silence broke. 3 Bay Area newspapers, the Vallejo Times-Herald, San Francisco Chronicle, and San Francisco Examiner, received nearly identical letters. Each began, "Dear Editor, I am the killer of the 2 teenagers last Christmas." Enclosed was a cipher, 408 symbols in a grid, signed with a crosshair-like emblem. The writer named himself Zodiac. Within days, a schoolteacher and his wife cracked the code. Its message was cold, taunting, and chilling. "I like killing people because it is so much fun. The best part is, when I die, I will be reborn in paradise, and all the I have killed will become my slaves." But the horror was only beginning. The cipher war, Lake Berryessa and Paul Stine. On the 27th of September, 1969, Zodiac abandoned the gun for a blade. Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard, college students picnicking at Lake Berryessa, noticed a figure approaching in the distance. He wore a black executioner's hood with a white crosshair stitched to the chest, a costume both absurd and terrifying. "I'm an escaped convict from Montana," he lied. "I need your car." Hartnell hesitated. The man produced a gun, then a knife. He bound the couple with pre-cut clothesline and stabbed them repeatedly. Cecilia, pleading for her life, whispered, "Please, I want to see my mother." The killer ignored her. Hartnell survived 14 stab wounds. Cecilia died days later. Before he fled, Zodiac carved his cross-circle emblem into Hartnell's car door. Hours later, he called police from a payphone. "I'm the one who did the students at the park." Then, on the 11th of October, 1969, Zodiac struck in the heart of San Francisco. Paul Stine, a 29-year-old cab driver, picked up a fare in the affluent Presidio Heights neighborhood. His passenger, a man in glasses and a crew cut, directed him to a secluded street. A single gunshot to the head ended Stine's life. 2 teenage witnesses watched the killer methodically wipe down the cab's interior with a rag, a chilling, calculated act that stunned detectives. For the first time, police had a physical description: white male, 25 to 30, 180 to 2, to 100 pounds, reddish-brown hair, glasses. A sketch circulated in newspapers, and Zodiac answered with fury. Days later, he mailed a piece of Stein's blood-stained shirt to the Chronicle, along with a letter, "School children make nice targets. I think I shall wipe out a school bus some morning." Panic spread across California. Parents walked children to school. Sales of guns and guard dogs surged. Zodiac's letters grew more unhinged. He claimed 37 murders, though only 5 were confirmed. He demanded his ciphers be printed on front pages, threatening, "If you don't, I'll do something nasty." In November 1969, he sent his most infamous cipher, 340 symbols arranged in a grid, which baffled experts for 51 years until codebreakers finally solved it in 2020. Its taunting message read, in part, "I hope you are having lots of fun trying to catch me. I am not afraid of the gas chamber." By then, Zodiac had vanished. Profilers mapping a psychopath's mind searched for answers. Who was the Zodiac Killer? To understand him, we must enter the darkest corners of the human psyche. Criminal profilers agree. Zodiac was a power-assertive killer. Unlike offenders driven by sexual fantasy or reassurance, he sought dominance. The letters, the ciphers, the costumes, all were tools to assert superiority over police, the media, and the public. Narcissism coursed through his communications. He called himself Zodiac repeatedly, once boasting, "My name will be in your headlines for generations." His meticulous staking out of locations, use of a flashlight to blind victims, and careful planning suggested military or law enforcement experience, yet his impulsivity contradicted that appearance. Attacking couples in public risked witnesses, hinting at uncontrollable rage, especially toward women. FBI profiler Mary Ellen O'Toole noted his paranoia. He inflated victim counts, lied about possessing a bomb, and even claimed to use invisible ink. These weren't just taunts. They were attempts to control the narrative, to keep everyone off balance. Handwriting analysts found childlike traits in his scrawl. His letters mixed blocky capitals with erratic punctuation, suggesting arrested development. Psychiatrist Dr. Catherine Ramsland theorized he suffered from pseudologia fantastica, a compulsive need to lie. He boasted about killing a man in Riverside, California, in 1966, but the evidence for that claim is thin. He wanted to be seen as omnipotent, yet he was likely a failure at work, love, and life. His obsession with codes reveals more. Cryptographer David Oranchak, who eventually cracked the 340 cipher, explains that the ciphers weren't sophisticated. They used simple substitution. He longed for fame as a genius but lacked the skill. That frustration may have driven him to kill, yet large gaps remain. Did he have accomplices? Some theorists point to the 1970 kidnapping of Kathleen Johns, where Zodiac allegedly used a female decoy. Others suspect links to the Santa Rosa hitchhiker murders, although the evidence is circumstantial. In the end, Zodiac's mind remains a cipher we're still struggling to decode. The victims' voices from the grave demand it. Behind the headlines, the ciphers, and the police reports were real people, lives unfinished and families broken. Betty Lou Jensen dreamed of becoming a pediatric nurse. At 16, she loved horseback riding and French pop music. Her brother Philip later remembered her laugh as loud and contagious. The house hasn't felt the same since. For the families, Zodiac's words were wounds that never healed, cutting deeper than the crimes themselves. Each letter brought new anguish, forcing them to question, was it truly the killer, or a cruel hoax meant to exploit their pain? That uncertainty became its own form of torment, a shadow they could never escape. The true legacy of the Zodiac is not only the lives he ended, but the fear and doubt he planted in the hearts of so many. His presence lingers in whispers, in old headlines, in the nightmares of those who lived through his reign of terror. Decades later, his mystery endures, keeping his victims' families trapped between grief and unanswered questions, a darkness that refuses to fade.